When should you change careers, look for new opportunities, and get out there and try something new? Well, in today's video, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the opportunities, some of the fears, and also some call to actions of what you can get started with today. Before we get started, my name is Caleb Becker with eCreateBiz. So let me ask you this question. Are you thinking of a career change? Are you thinking of shifting your work of where you currently are? Do you have dreams of pursuing something else? And if so, what's holding you back? And why haven't you changed? And why haven't you looked into the new opportunities? And if so, have you looked into the new opportunities? So let's talk about opportunities for right now. And let's just unpack that and see what we can make sense of. So where has your career been up until this point? Have you worked for others? Have you been an employee? Have you been a partner? Have you put in the time? And strictly, I guess in most cases, have you been able to do what has been asked of you and you've done what was expected? That's great. Good for you if you have been. And if you've struggled in this area, I totally get that too. I understand that. So what are you thinking is next? What's out there? Do you want to work for somebody else? Do you want to look for work into a different industry? Or do you have a hidden dream inside of you that you're wanting to explore? Maybe it's a hidden dream of something that you really care about, something that you can nurture and grow into something beautiful. Maybe you have a dream to help others in a small way or in a big way. Maybe you have a dream into making change into the areas of life that you care about and to the people that you care about. Maybe you have a dream to build something, your own business, and leave a legacy. Maybe you want to pass on the movement that you started onto your children so they can carry it forward. If so, these are all great, and the opportunity is here right now. If you've ever thought about starting your own business, and it's scary to think about it, I totally get it. I totally understand. If you've ever thought about starting your own business, there's never been a better time than right now to start your own business. You can get started with very little startup costs. There is cost involved, yes, but it's very little startup costs from what it was years ago. Now has never been a better time. To get yourself online and to get in front of people to share your idea has never been easier. And I just want to tell you that the opportunity is here. It's here. And it's here for those who are willing to put themselves out there. The opportunity is so amazing right now. You can start from nothing to something in a short amount of time. But I want to be very clear on this. There's a lot of garbage out there of people saying that you can make lots of money with very little effort, and that is totally false. The opportunity is there, but you have to put in the work. Consistently put in the work, and it's tough. It's tough, but it's worth it. When others are online and they see you showing up in whatever place you show up, and you show up consistently, that speaks a lot. Because if anybody's ever tried it before, to show up in any which way that brings value, it doesn't take long, and all of a sudden you lose consistency. You might lose a time. You might not show up at a certain week. And then all of a sudden you get behind. It's kind of like if you're trying to lose weight and you committed yourself to staying away from certain kinds of foods, and all of a sudden you get invited out with your friends and you end up eating some of that food that you said you weren't going to eat. And as soon as you do that, you just kind of throw your hands up and say, I give up. Well, that's kind of how like it is when it's online. When you're trying to get your idea out there and get in front of others, it's very important to stay consistent. So the opportunity is here. It's right here in front of us. There's never been a better time, but it does take work. But when you put in the work, it is so worth it. Okay, now we're going to talk about what's holding us back. What stands in your way? What is keeping you from building that business that you've dreamt about for so many years? And I'll just unpack this a little bit here and just see if this will resonate for you and what you face. Number one, you don't know where to start. That's a common one. And I get it. It's tough. Where does a person start? How do you start? You know, the dream for a business can be in your mind, and you can be lying in your bed, you can be eating your supper, you can be sitting on the couch, you could be traveling to town, and it's just there, and you just know that if you could get it out to the world, it would take off and it would bring value to others. But where do you start? If you could just start, that's one of the fears that hold us back. Another one is too old. I should have done this years ago. Truthfully so, yes, you should have done this years ago, but you're not too old. You can start right now. Believe me, there's never been a better time than being able to start right now. In a short amount of time, your idea can get in front of so many people that if it is a good idea, it'll take off. Believe me, it'll take off. So you're not too old, but that is a fear, and that is something that holds a lot of people back. And just for an example, Colonel Sanders was in his 60s when he started KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. Okay, is that too old to start? No, to me, that's not too old to start. That's awesome. Look what kind of a legacy he left. It's a perfect time to start. Whenever you have the idea and you have the motivation and the inspiration, it's time to get started, and it's time to start working on it. Another fear that holds us back, another fear that could be holding you back is vulnerability. Maybe you have an idea in your mind or a dream and you want to turn it into a business, but as soon as you start sharing it with others, it makes you feel vulnerable, and people might laugh at it. People might think you're crazy. People might challenge you. It will expose you of how you really think. That vulnerability is enough to squelch your idea. Would it not? Can you relate to that? There's a lot of people who can relate to that, and there's a lot of people who have stopped or haven't started because of that. And it's real. But it's one of those fears that you're going to have to overcome to be able to get your idea off the ground. So I'm going to recap on those fears again. That's not knowing where to start, feeling like you're too old, and if you were to get this idea out to the world, it would make you vulnerable, and vulnerability is scary. Okay, with these fears, I want to tell you that you actually can overcome them. They do need to be worked on, but they are overcomeable. And when you get them out of the way, then it unleashes this inner part of you that is unstoppable, that is ready to bring your idea out in front of others. And that will take off. Believing in yourself. Okay, now we're going to talk about a call to action. What you should do to get started. Number one is below this video, I have a link to a free guide. It's a free business guide that you can download. And I've laid out in this guide some of the most important parts of starting a business or running a business that a lot of people tend to overlook. I laid out the most important steps that will help you stay focused. And also in this guide, I've included the myths that are floating around out there that aren't true. And if you can see what some of the untrue things are, it'll help you to be able to focus on the things that are true. So there's a guide down below in this link that you can download. You can just have it on your computer or your device or print it out, and you can just have it there to look at and to keep following as you go on into your journey. This guide will be able to give you a plan, and it will be able to show you what is working in the market today. So just make sure that you download that guide so you can have it. So let me just go ahead and recap again today of this career shift that you might be looking into. Look into the opportunities that are around you. Consider them and realize that we've never been in a better time in our lives to start our own businesses. Okay. Number 2, overcoming the fears that are standing in your way. They're real, acknowledge them, and start working on them. Not knowing where to start, feeling like you're too old, and getting your idea out there makes you vulnerable. Okay, and the third thing today is download the free guide. Have it with you. Reference it. Mark on it. Use it as your map so that you can stay focused on getting your business up and running, getting it started, making your business profitable. So that's it for today. I do wish you all the best in your journey, and I will see you again in the next video.